Hello and welcome. My name is Neil Trussell, and I'm excited to have Beth Berghan as my guest. She's a professional coach specializing in business and executive leadership. So, welcome, Beth.
Thank you, Neil. I'm really glad to be here. I appreciate you asking me so much.
You're welcome. So, Beth is from across, it's a long swim to Australia. So, Beth is in Australia, and she is my future right now because she's Friday and we're still in Thursday. So, so Beth, the younger version of you, the high school, the college you had a vision or could have had a vision of success. Or maybe you didn't have a vision of what success looked like at all. But if you could go back and take that journey back, what do you think your version of success included back then?
I, that's a great question because yeah, I believe that our picture of success is going to change depending on the season of our lives anyway. But we'll come back to that probably a bit later. Um, it's always been a journey for me. I've seen success as a journey. I've seen that I was the measure of whether something was a success or not. That it wasn't necessarily up to other people to tell me whether I was a success or not. If it didn't come from me, then whatever others said didn't really count so much. And interestingly, there are a couple of common themes. One is I've always known for me, it was more than the dollars or the jewelry or the house or the car or or those tangible things. It's always been much more a feeling inside. And I've always known that success for me was going to and had to really, in my view, include other people. That there were going to be others that would travel with me, that I would bring around me as my team or as the people I chose to have in my life, who would contribute to my success.
Well, so back to the young Beth. So
Yeah.
were you outside influences? Um, because Beth, you should have, got married, had children, the possibly the white picket fence, gone to university. Were these outside influences part of what you measured success, or did you just say, I'm following my own path?
Well, that's really interesting because my parents were both school teachers, and I swore black and blue that I would never be a school teacher, and actually ended up teaching in the equivalent of high school, which is, kind of that 12 to 18-year-old age range. I'm not sure what it would be in your system. Um, and I did that for several years. And then I was actually born and raised in New Zealand. And then I made a choice that in order to be all that I could be, I would travel to Australia. And I've been an Australian citizen for many years. It was a big step. And my life has always kind of been here from then on in. So um, I was encouraged to fly freely. Um, I'm not sure that they thought that I would perhaps fly so far so permanently. However, what really underpinned that was me pushing back against the sense that you're supposed to do this next. Like you're supposed to find someone and get married, then you probably have to do that. And I wanted to do that at my own pace rather than because that was what everybody else was doing.
Wow. So this desire to do it at your own pace, was this
Mm.
a rebellious person, a part of you, or was this just a calm inner knowing that no, I just need to do this at my own pace?
It was like an absolute knowing. I knew that here I would feel freer, to be all that I could possibly be, whatever that looked like for me. And I never felt like that expectation to be a certain way came from family. It was more this knowing from my perspective that I, go there. I think that there will be possibilities.
That's wonderful. So you've said it a couple times, the this knowing to be all that you can be. Sorry, this statement, all that you can be. Was this like just an inner knowing, or did one day you just wake up and go, "Oh my gosh, I need to be all that I can be"?
Um, I, I I said to you earlier, Neil, that this has always been a journey for me. And when I say journey, I don't mean that it's been a struggle. I've seen it as I'm walking along this path, and I might divert or pause for a period of time, and it might be about building another set of skills or meeting some new people, or there's a different season in my life, or all of those things together, I guess. And um and it wasn't, it's not I must do this. It's a certainty, just a certainty that's always been there. Some people might interpret that as being a little bit cocky and arrogant. Some people might not necessarily appreciate that, but it's just, yeah, there's just at the core of me, there's this certainty that my life is up to me. I'm the person, as I said earlier, the success in my life is entirely up to me. I'm at the core of it all. And if I'm, if I'm not able to work on and transform my life, then I can't transform me, rather, then I can't transform any other aspect of my life at all.
Absolutely, that's wonderful. So now let's transport to the Beth that's sitting here right now.
Mhm.
What does this version of Beth think success is? If you were to measure success, what would you think success is or feel that success is?
I think that it comes down to three main areas, Neil, and the first one of those is our health, and how we are physically, and mentally, how our health is. It's also about like our career slash finances, and I'll kind of lump those together
Yeah,
because that they're critical things, and also, um, really importantly, are the relationship that we have with ourselves and the relationship that we have with others. And happiness, your own personal happiness, really underpins all of that. And kind of, for me, it's such a personal and an individual measurement. And the circumstances of your life, the season that you're in your life, um, the curveballs that life chucks at you, the highs and the lows. It's like a roller coaster, our life. And so for me, if I can be um, intrinsically happy, if I can look out and see some things, I'm so joyful about that. I'm so grateful about that. Then the success um, will follow, or my level of success will be built on who I am as an individual and the way I view the world.
wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, I hear this expression. So, as you said that there's the highs and the lows, what do you think for you, or how what do you feel has kept you moving forward when you've hit the lows and the forks in the roads and you've circled back and you've been in a rainstorm and the monsoons have hit and life just doesn't seem fair. What has kept
Life goes to
you
shit, you
moving?
mean?
Yeah, yeah. And when the shit hits the fan, what keeps you moving?
um, I it, I was born and raised with a strong sense of self. I was born and raised with a strong sense of resilience. Um, and so for me, um, my headspace has always been really good. At different times in my life, depending on what was going on, my body has felt the impact of that as I've held various emotions in. But basically, it for me, it's always that journey. A
Yeah.
big hurdle, a big thing that's been difficult at times for me to manage and to
Yeah.
manage really well, has been to put my ego to one side and actually ask for help.
Ooh.
It's an interesting thing. And if I think, I raised two sons from a very young age by myself, and it was the weirdest thing, Neil. um, I was very happy to have their friends, other kids come over. For me to ask someone who wasn't being paid to look after my sons was a very difficult thing for me to do. It's been, what's even been more interesting, and I don't want to divert us too far, but what's been even more interesting is that if you talk to a lot of other single mums and dads, they'll tell you exactly that. That it's kind of like they feel like they're failing. They're not successful in their parenting if that's what they do. Um, so yeah, I think it's about being prepared to constantly grow, being prepared to bring that team around you, and to put that ego to one side and to ask for help.
And yes, and it's a huge thing for many people in all walks of life and in all aspects to ask for help. And yet I think those that we put on a pedestal because they've achieved higher levels of success than we mere mortals have, I think if we look closely in there, they have
Yeah,
learned to ask for success.
yeah, yeah,
They've willingly gone to find help for the next level of their evolution.
yeah.
So
And I guess that's what I mean by that seasonal thing, because the interesting thing is that you get over that hurdle as a single mum with young kids who need to be looked after. And you move through that, and there's the next season, and then, oh, I need some help to grow my business. Will I ask for help to build it to success, or will I just work really hard to show myself that I don't know what I'm doing until I push my ego out of the way? And so, it keeps on coming up. That's the journey and stepping towards that success that I was referring to.
absolutely. So what do you think? So whatever person, the man, woman, child, entrepreneur, whatever you choose as the icon of what success looks like, what do you think is something that they are doing that the average person may not be doing enough or may not be doing at all?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question, because I talked before about the kind of three aspects of success, which are health, career, and finances and relationships. And there probably aren't too many people, even those people that we hold up as being the most successful, who could really say that they were successful in all three of those areas, or who could say that they had those three areas of their life fully in harmony. Yeah, we'll have that conversation about harmony another time. But I think that we can learn from people by having a look at some of the aspects of the simple things they do. I think often we see success as being overcomplicated, and it doesn't need to be overcomplicated. It can be beautifully simple. And so there are a couple of examples, and I think some of these come down to things like daily habits. And it might be, an awesome daily habit doesn't necessarily mean get up at 4:30, spend an hour on the treadmill, do this, do that. That isn't necessarily what I mean by daily habits. It's about actually doing things or setting processes in place that allow you to focus on the big things so that you don't get caught up in the little things. And the example that I would use for this, and it's probably one that people will have heard before, is that it's as simple as minimizing the number of really small, insignificant choices or decisions that you need to make in any day, and being able to focus on the big ones. So um, you'll see lots of very successful people wear the same clothes all the time, for example. I think it was Steve Jobs who was best known for the black, well, turtleneck. I'm not sure what the
Yep.
international phrase for that is. And by choosing, he didn't have to think about it. He just wore that and a pair of jeans every single day. He never had to think about it. So that meant that his mind was free to focus on those bigger problems, those bigger choices, those bigger decisions. And I think that we can get caught up in the minutia of the whole thing, and we actually need to see that there are simple things over here. What would really help with that, and I'm sure that if we were able to peel back the layers and look at every single one that any of us would see as being successful, they've built their tribe. They've got an awesome team around them. That they've got they those people get them. They can step in when things need to be done. Someone comes in to do the things that you don't like to do, whether that be comes in to mow the lawn, or whether it be comes in to do your bookkeeping, or whether it be someone to do your social media.
Yep.
I know that those people will have a huge team around them. The final thing I want to say about this in response to this question is this, Neil. I actually believe that they need to find, and I don't know if they do or not, but I believe it's good for every single one of us to find people who will say no to us and who will tell us the truth, no matter how hard it is for that truth to be heard.
Wonderful. I love that. So thank you. Um, we are so close to being out of time. Is there something that you would a little thought or something you would like to share with our viewers, our listeners in live and replay as your final thoughts?
I have a saying that is actually written on my wall here, that I think is really an important one to share with people. And it goes like this. People might want to write this down. Change occurs when you become who you are, not when you try to be what you're not. I'll say it again. Change occurs when you become who you are, not when you try to be what you are not. And really what that means to me is lift yourself up and go for it. Be who you are. That authenticity will drive your success.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I'd like to say thank you for taking, because you are in a workshop, you snuck out. So I want to say thank you for taking the time for our listeners and our viewers and live and replay. Thank you, Beth.
Thank you, Neil. Bye now.
Bye-bye.